Radio Imanzi 105.1 FM. Twese hamwe birashoboka.
We got you updated. This is Radio Imanzi News in English.
Good evening, dear listener. Thank you for tuning in. This is Radio Imanzi 105.1 FM, broadcasting from Kigali. Here are the news in English, brought to you by Alvin Umngali. The headlines. Rwanda Revenue Authority has announced December 30th as the deadline for individual businesses and government institutions to pay their due taxes. Member of Parliament Ernest Kamanzi has resigned from Parliament, stating personal reasons. Officials have said the new year 2023 will be ushered in a display of fireworks across Kigali city. On the night of Thursday, December 29th, 2022, the Ministry of Emergency Management, MINEMA, has announced that it has received 26 Rwandans from 14 families who came home from Mozambique. South Sudan will send 750 soldiers to the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo soon to join a regional force fighting a rebel offensive. Tunisia's president downplayed the massive abstention in this month's parliamentary elections. We'll be back with news in detail. Thank you. Welcome back. Rwanda Revenue Authority, RRA, has announced December 30th as the deadline for individual businesses and government institutions to pay their due taxes. In a communique issued by the revenue body on December 28th, it stated that this is due to the fact that banks normally issue service instructions to their customers in order to facilitate their new year-end related activities, hence the deadline. Jean-Paul Ouitonze, Rwanda Revenue Authority spokesperson, explained that normally banks' branches close a bit early or put to halt some services for them to deal with bookkeeping activities for the end of the year. We urge all taxpayers to ensure the payment is done before the deadline, otherwise they may be forced to deal with inconveniences in the following month, such as having to provide documents that the payment was done on time and banks delayed to report it. These include quarterly income tax prepayment, unpaid value-added tax, unpaid withholding tax, and unpaid pay-as-you-earn. He added that we also urge them to prepare their inventories well and cross-check EBM receipts with their suppliers. We don't accept any other receipt as a deductible expense when declaring tax on profit. We also warn against falsified EBM receipts because we have technologies to detect that, and it is punishable. Member of Parliament Ernest Kamanzi has resigned from Parliament, stating personal reasons. The Deputy Speaker of the Chamber of Deputies, Musa Fazil Harerimana, confirmed that the Youth Representative MP submitted his letter of resignation on Wednesday. According to Harerimana, Kamanzi didn't specify the personal reasons. There are reports that the youthful MP resigned following a drunk driving incident in Huye district when he was on a work mission, leading a group of other members of the parliament in the Chamber of Deputies. According to a tweet by Joseph Hakuzumuremyi, a journalist from Umuryango.org, the MP was detained following the incident. Before becoming an MP in September 2018, Kamanzi was the chairman of National Youth Council in the Southern Province and a member of the Advisory Council of Kamonyi District. In November, another member of parliament, Jean-Pierre Célestin Habiyaremye, resigned from parliament over what he described as personal reasons by pointing to his misconduct during the pandemic when he violated curfew hours, an incident that happened over a year and 9 months ago. He said in March 2021, when there was a COVID-19 curfew that was starting at 9 p.m., I violated it and ended up having an altercation with security organs, although we talked things through and sorted them out. That followed the resignation of Gamiel Mbonimana, who was also a member of parliament representing the Liberal Party on November 14th this year. His resignation came after President Paul Kagame expressed concerns over a lawmaker whose name appeared in police reports for drunk driving and was also let free because he enjoys immunity as a member of parliament. Teachers have requested adjustments to credit terms in Umngalimu Savings and Credit Cooperative Umngalimu Sacco and consider extending the repayment period to 3 years to 5 years so that the increased salary advanced loan benefits many of them. They made the appeal on Wednesday during the 25th General Assembly of Umngalimu Sacco held in Kigali. The management of this financial institution announced during the assembly that the maximum loan of a teacher is entitled to was increased from 3.5 million Rwandan francs to 5 million. Laurence Uwambaje, Director General of Umngalimu Sacco, said it was realized that over 20,950 teachers will be entitled to the increased loan as they have the required capacity to get from 3.5 million Rwandan francs to 5 million Rwandan francs. After getting such statistics, we considered that impact lending such money within 5 years as the repayment period will have on Umngalimu Sacco, she said, pointing out that the recovery of the loans will take a long time, which would weaken the institution's financial flows and liquidity. Uwambaje disclosed that the financial institution was trying to get means to meet the increased financial needs of many teachers who requested higher loans after the salary increments. Figures from Umngalimu Sacco shows that its total assets grew by 30% from 110 billion Rwandan francs as of November 2021 to 143 billion Rwandan francs as of November 2022. On Wednesday, Umngalimu Sacco launched digital products including internet banking, online emergency loan and e-tax payment, which it said are in line with ensuring efficiency in financial service delivery to its members and customers. On the night of Thursday, December 29th, 2022, the Ministry of Emergency Management, MINEMA, has announced that it has received 26 Rwandans from 14 families who came home from Mozambique. Those Rwandans say they are happy to return to Rwanda. They say that they are ready to cooperate with others to build the country. They came while the relationship between Rwanda and Mozambique continues to grow gradually after the Rwandan army was sent to restore peace in Cabo Delgado province, which was occupied by terrorists. Rwanda will train soldiers and police in that country from July 2021, and they went to an agreement between the two countries in order to help Mozambique deal with terrorists that began to engulf in it from 2017. When the aid of Rwanda arrived in that province, the situation changed in a short time because the rebels were immediately expelled from the garrisons that they had occupied in the province of Cabo Delgado. At the beginning of this year, Rwanda signed an agreement with Mozambique aimed at fighting terrorism, where the two countries are currently cooperating through a military cooperation agreement. Officials have said the new year 2023 will be ushered with a display of fireworks across Kigali city. For the first time since the COVID-19 pandemic, Kigali residents will be able to watch the city skyline lit up by fireworks displays. In 2020 and 2021, firework displays were cancelled amid fear of a surge in coronavirus infections due to public gatherings. But the pandemic has subsided significantly, and the city officials have now decided to let people welcome 2023 in style. The time around on the night of December 31st to January 1st, fireworks will be launched in 5 locations in the city: at the Kigali Convention Center, the BK Arena, the Kigali Stadium, Nyamirambo, Bumbogo Hill in Gasawa District, and Hotel de Mille Collines in the city center. The fireworks will go off at exactly midnight. Prudence Rubingisa, the mayor of City of Kigali, said the public should be prepared for the fireworks on New Year's Eve. In a statement she gave today, she said the City of Kigali leadership requests the general public to remain calm and not be disrupted by those lighting activities as we celebrate the new year. We'll be back shortly with international news.
Some items of international news on Radio Imanzi.
South Sudan has sent 750 soldiers to the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo soon to join a regional force fighting a rebel offensive, a military spokesman said on Wednesday. Fierce fighting in recent months between Congolese troops and the M23 rebel group prompted the East African Community Bloc to deploy a joint regional force to quell the violence with Kenya and Uganda, and also sending soldiers to the DRC. A spokesman from the South Sudan People's Defense Force Major General Lul Rai Kong said during a ceremony in the capital Juba that South Sudanese soldiers, the 750-strong battalion, has been undergoing training for more than 6 months for their deployment. At the Juba event, President Salva Kiir instructed the troops to keep order, urging them to protect the civilians and their properties from any harm. Tunisia's president downplayed the massive abstention in this month's parliamentary elections. According to the electoral authorities, only 11.2% participated in the scrutiny. Earlier, turnout had been estimated at just under 9%. The Tunisian president, in a monologue to his cabinet on Wednesday, said turnout of 9% or 12% is better than 99% in previous elections, which were welcomed by foreign countries even though they knew they were rigged. Kai said also slammed critics who have accused him of dragging the country towards dictatorship. Without naming names, Said accused the rivals of drowning in corruption and treachery and of plotting against the state and its internal and external security. The December 17th polls kept Said's overhaul of the political system in Tunisia that started with his sweeping power grab in July last year when he sacked the government and suspended parliament before he moved to seize control of the judiciary. Zimbabwe has banned all lithium exports after the government said it was losing 1.7 billion euros from exporting it as a raw mineral and not processing it into batteries in country. Lithium is so valuable as a component of electronic batteries, mostly for cars, mobile phones and computers, that is known as the white gold. The price has gone up by 1,100% in the past 2 years alone. The government says Zimbabwe has the largest amount of the mineral in Africa and has enough of it to supply a fifth of the world's needs. While on track to become one of the world's largest lithium exporters, the government says it should start its own battery industry rather than allow foreign companies to dominate battery production. If it succeeds, it will mark a sea change for Zimbabwe's economy. Like many other mineral-rich African states, it has allowed its raw minerals to be extracted by multinations for decades without developing local industries that could process them and create many jobs. The Zimbabwean Ministry of Mines and Mining Development said it would also clamp down on the artisanal miners digging up lithium and smuggling the mineral across the borders. During recent ethnic violence in South Sudan, eastern Jonglei region, around 57 people were killed and more than a dozen others injured a local official said on Wednesday. Greater People's Information Minister Abraham Kelang said armed groups of youth from the Nuer ethnic group attacked members of the Moral ethnic group in the Greater People administrative area. Kelang said the fighting started on Sunday when armed youth from Jonge attacked Lanam village. Members of both groups were killed while 17 people on the Moral side were among the injured. Moro Community Youth Association Chairman David Ngiro commended the fighting and urged humanitarian groups to intervene. He said, "We also call on the central government and the government of Jonge State to take action to stop this act of genocidal nature and aimed towards the Moro tribe." South Sudan, which gained independence from Sudan in 2011, has been blighted by political and communal violence and clashes over the cattle and land disputes for decades. Jonge State Information Minister John Samuel Mayun also condemned the fighting and ordered state youth to withdraw immediately and called on the nation government in Juba to intervene, saying the situation is out of the local state's control. He added that this is a cycle of violence that has been going on for many years, and we want support from the national government and our partners to find a solution for it. Recently, the United Nations mission in South Sudan warned about reported mobilization of armed Nuer youth in the Greater Jonge area. It said that could trigger violent attacks that could undermine recent peace gains achieved through rapprochement between the leaders of Jonge State and Pibo area. In March 2020, similar fighting between the two communities displaced thousands of people. Insecurity remains rife across the landlocked East African country despite the formation of a transitional government in February 2020, which reinstated Riek Machar as the country's first vice president. 2 people have been killed in gun battle between Kenyan security forces and suspected Al-Shabaab fighters in coastal Kenya. Local media has reported that 4 people were rescued in the shootout at a roadblock in the insurgents had just erected on Lamu County's main road. Italy's ANSA, a news agency, reported that one of them was an Italian national. The 4 had been apprehended from their vehicles by the fighters on the road near Witu town on Wednesday around 6 p.m. local time. The insurgents have been disguised as police and had been stopping vehicles driving along the road which passes through Witu forest. According to a police report, the forest has been used as a base for years by the fighters. On Monday, 2 people were killed nearby in another suspected Al-Shabaab attack in Tar Village in Witu division. And that brings us to the end of today's program. Let us look at the headlines once more. Rwanda Revenue Authority has announced December 30th as the deadline for individual business and government institutions to pay their due taxes. Member of Parliament Ernest Imanzi has resigned from Parliament, stating personal reasons. Officials have said the new year 2023 will be ushered in with a display of fireworks across Kigali city. On the night of Thursday, December 29th, the Ministry of Emergency Management, MINEMA, has announced that it has received 26 Rwandans from 14 families who came home from Mozambique. South Sudan has sent 750 soldiers to the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo to join a regional force fighting a rebel offensive. Tunisia's president downplayed the massive abstention in this month's parliamentary elections. This was Alvina Mngari, and on behalf of Radio Imanzi, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a marvelous New Year of 2023. Have a wonderful night.